Hey everybody, Charles Dobbins, the multifamily attorney, and this is our next episode from the Multifamily Investing Academy podcast. And I want to introduce you to two fantastic people, two St. Louis natives, born and raised. And Jason Roberts and Rachel Schneider have always been fascinated by the world of real estate. And back in 2001, while they were still back in their early 20s, they're kids. Jason and Rachel decided that instead of working for someone else, they'd rather be in charge of their own destiny, and they opened a mortgage company. And they eventually built that business into a multi-million-dollar company where they closed over 3,000 real estate transactions. Then we all know what happened. The market crashed, and they had to find a new way to make money. And we talk all about this in our podcast. And that's where they went into real estate investing and started down that new path. And by implementing real estate strategies that they've honed over time, they've since closed well north of 300 plus real estate transactions. And having pretty much seen everything, they decided to funnel that expertise into their true passion, which is sharing their knowledge with other investors. Sounds like something I would be up for. They now run one of the top coaching programs with the nation's leading investors. They own a profitable hard money lending company with over $2 million in loans, always outstanding to their coaching students at any given time. And they're here to share their wealth of knowledge as the co-owners of their local REIA club and their website, www.reiblueprint.com. So sit back, fire up your coffee, and enjoy this episode of Multifamily Investing Podcast. Rachel Schneider, Jason Roberts, welcome to the Multifamily Podcasting, and with Charles Dobbins, the multifamily attorney, and that's me. And guys, let me tell you how early this is and how we've already had some technical difficulties. And this is what I should have done first. This is my first sip of coffee in the morning.
Well, I'm glad we could share.
Oh,
Cheers.
Exactly. Cheers. This is like a Milky Way commercial. We're like, hey, why don't you take a bite of your Snickers.
It's early for us too, man.
Yeah, wait a minute. Your guys are out in St. Louis, or?
Yeah.
All right, because I have a brother in Kansas City. You see, if you lived out here in New England, if you live in the same state, that's like close. Like, okay, you're in Massachusetts. Well, you're an hour away. I found out the hard way that Kansas City and St. Louis aren't really that close, even though you're in the same state. No, see, that's you guys in the Midwest have everything a totally different perspective on stuff. So,
yeah, it's a little haul, man. We just did some presentations there last week, and we go back Super Bowl Sunday weekend for an event. And yeah, I mean, it's a good 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, let's talk the good, the bad, and the ugly of real estate. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about, because as I'm finding out as I get older, there are fewer and fewer people that remember a cycle, remember the last crash. Absolutely. And it's amazing me. They're all out there telling you how you get rich in real estate. It's so easy. Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I've been through 3 cycles already. And, I'll tell you, the people that are clients in my program are kind of like my age. We got about 10 to 15 years left to wrap it all up and to get as much, excitement out of life as we possibly can. So we can't do it again. We can't survive another crash. We want to just protect ourselves. Now, you guys talk about your travails through the last one. Yeah. So how'd you survive?
I survived, I guess, is a compliment. It was
it's a very relative term too.
I mean, it knocked us to the ground, man. It
absolutely
wiped us out down to nothing. I lost my own home to foreclosure. Cars repossessed. I mean, we ran a multi-million-dollar business with multi-million-dollar incomes. And, from 2007 till about October 2010, we lost money every single month until there wasn't any money left to lose. We're in a spot where, do you pay the office rent or do you pay your own mortgage?
Yeah.
And, we chose to pay the office rent. And, we went from close to 100 employees at one point down to, 6, 7, 8 in the matter of a couple, really probably 3 or 4 months into when it first happened in 2007. And man, it didn't really matter what we did. We just kept coming to work every day thinking we can outwork this. We can the more we'll work more hours to make up for the deficit, and
Didn't work out.
yeah, nothing we could do.
I'll tell you, I'm sorry to say this, but I love this story because I live the same thing. And, these people that are out there teaching that have never done it, never been there, you just don't know what it's like.
That's right.
Scariest time of your life. And, people say, oh, this too shall pass, or, God gives you whatever you can handle. And boy, when you're going through it, you're like, come on, God, give me a break.
This is too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I tell my students that might be going through a tough time or financially, what have you, whatever you do, answer your phone.
Yeah.
Just talk to the debt collectors.
That's
talk
right.
to the disgruntled investors. Just let people know what's going on. Don't stick your head in the sand. And
I can resonate. It was a crazy time, but I think your advice is dead on. And just in our own experience, we have a hard money lending business, and we've had some loans go bad over the years. And probably the most important thing to us was exactly what you said. Just maintain communication. We understand you're in trouble. We understand it's going the other way, but just talk to us. Tell us what's going on. When you hide, it makes us feel like you're.
It's a lot more difficult.
Yeah. So Jason, I guess going through all these problems, Rachel became a better person, right? Is that what happened after all this time?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
She got the benefit.
Good. Bravo. Yeah. I'm teasing you. So, all right. Now, today, let's talk about today. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? What did you learn? How has it impacted how you run your business now?
Great question. You want to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I say, looking back on it, like when we were in it, it was the worst possible thing that could happen. And today, as crazy as it sounds, it was really kind of a blessing in a sense, because there were so many lessons that we learned. And it's not that we did all these things wrong, right? We did what the financial advisor said and everybody said, and you just couldn't get out of it, right? There wasn't a right way to exit out of it and to improve the situation. Right. But I think one of the biggest lessons that we learned, number one, as being business partners for almost 19 years now, we definitely learned how to operate with each other's strengths. I think that was one thing that definitely came out of that. Like, we very much stay in our own lanes now in our business, and we keep it simple. We, the type of businesses that we run today, then we would have had 50 employees, right? Yeah. And today we operate all of them with a team of about 6. Yeah. And we might have some outsources here and there, but we didn't go and recreate this business that we constantly had to serve. We've really set it up where it serves us. And we kind of did the opposite of what some of the financial advisors used to tell us.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Type of guys. Yeah.
And we've built, and not that we were super debt heavy then, but the way we operate today, we are completely debt free, and we've operated our, besides short-term money, right, for our investments and things like that. Other than that, we've kept it very, very light.
That was gonna be my answer, is the debt piece, man. Our businesses are completely debt free. There's no loans, there's no credit cards, there's no we can't even rent a car when we land in a city sometimes. We just recently got an American Express.
Oh my gosh.
So we can rent cars.
Yeah, so we can rent cars.
Yeah.
They won't let you rent one with a debit card, and as crazy as it is.
Oh, let me tell you something. Guys, I'm just amazed at how similar, and especially the lessons learned. I run $1 million business right now with 1.5 employees. Okay, that's it. And the debt, don't even talk to me about debt. But here's the thing: is I'm planning my escape to South Carolina, to Kiowa Island. I want to buy a beautiful house down there, and I think, okay, I'm socking the money away to pay cash for the house, because I don't want to take. But I thought to myself, all right, but what happens if I find that right house and I don't have, I want to buy it. So I better check my credit, and just in case I have to use it. So I went online, I went on Credit Karma, and they're telling me like I have derogatory things on my credit. Okay, well, like what? Well, you have old accounts closed. And like, yeah, that's because I do everything with my debit card, pay cash for everything. Right. It's like you don't, and then when you get so then they get you to get credit cards to fix your credit.
Yeah.
what a racket those guys are.
Such a racket.
Oh my
It's
God.
such a racket.
Yep.
And then, like, as soon as you add a credit card, your credit rating goes down.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did I do? I launched into your business, and now you guys are punishing me.
That's right.
It's terrible.
It's insane.
Yeah, but I'm the exact.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I'll tell you, I went through the exact same thing you did, and the lessons I learned are sound like the exact same lessons that you learned. And I tell you, I'm a better person for it. And I feel so, and I live life entirely differently than I did before. And you know what's really kind of cool is when you find people who are in a similar tough situation, you can help them. You can, because you've been through it. This is what you do. And now you're going to do this, and then you're going to do this. And it's so enriching for you to see that, wow, all those the lashes that you received are now helping other people, so they don't have to go through the same thing. So that's really cool. Now let's talk about, because you talk about running your businesses on 4 hours a day. Okay. I am now restructuring my week where I'm not booking anything on Fridays. Fridays, I really want to start taking 3-day weekends. Now, granted, right now I'm sitting in my studio that happens to be in a property I own up in New Hampshire. It was 8 degrees out this morning. Why am I here? Why am I here? Oh, but I and the thing is, my asthma, I step outside and I'm like, I'm going to die because of the
Take your
cold.
breath away. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to get out of here. So part of what I'm doing is structuring my week so that I take Fridays off. I can just escape if I, jump in a plane, take off. And I'll tell you, it's not that easy to just make that break and say, oh, I'm not doing anything on Fridays. Yeah, well, you wake up, you turn on your emails, and you start falling into the same routines. Right. So you guys, one of the topics you mentioned we want to talk about is a 4-hour day, like how you're able to get everything done in 4 hours. And I'll tell you, in this business that I'm doing, it's in the multifamily business, it can be done. It absolutely can be done. It's a beautiful business. So what tips do you guys have?
Man, I'll answer first with, kind of where that came from, because, I grew up in a brewery family. My dad worked for Anheuser-Busch, my uncle, my grandpa, and it was beat into me at a young age.
I could tell just by looking at you.
Is that right?
You had it all over you, man.
And
you look like Shots Brewery, for crying out loud.
Right. I don't drink beer, so I think it was because of that smell all the time.
All the time. They come home with that hop smell on all their clothes. Yep. Wow.
So I think for me, it was during that wipeout when we really started transitioning from the business that we owned into real estate investing. I hired a mentor with money that I did not have. And I've always been a big fan of, hire the guy that already is getting the results that you're trying to get, whatever it is in life, whether it's the gym or your relationship or anything. And the guy told me, Jason, you really need to make this business in a way that it serves you. Anybody can be successful if they want to work 14 hours a day. Like, you're nobody special. What would be special is if you could make that type of income working 2, 3, 4 hours a day instead of 12. And it still didn't click with me. I mean, it just didn't make sense, man. I mean, it was just beat into me that you outwork your problems. And that worked for a long time. I mean, I guess we thought it worked. We made a lot of money, but I think we traded a lot of life away at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
So he had me do this exercise where you take out a week-long calendar and you basically design your life as if you didn't have to work. You didn't have an income, or you didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to do anything. Like, what would you do at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning if you didn't have to work and you didn't have to worry about money? And as crazy as it sounds, I mean, I was like a deer in the headlights trying to answer this because I was just so conditioned to work. And he said, don't you have a motorcycle in your garage? And I said, yeah. And he said, when's the last time you rode it? And I said, I don't know. The tags are 3 years expired. So I'm guessing three years ago. Right? Because that's what happens when you don't set your business up correctly. And then he said, didn't you say you wanted to be a pilot and, learn how to fly? And I said, yeah. And so he starts putting all these things in my week-long calendar during the day. Like, you're going to fly a helicopter from 10 to noon on Wednesday, and you're going to ride your motorcycle from 12 to 2 on Tuesday and Thursday. And you said, your health is important. So you're going to go to the gym every day at 2:30. And instead of getting excited about this new life, man, I'm getting overwhelmed because all I'm seeing is a bunch of fun stuff that has nothing to do with making money or work. And he said, after we kind of completed that whole exercise, he said, all right, now, and the hours that are left, that's what you have left to build your business. And it's the first time I ever heard anything even remotely close to that in my whole entire life. But we latched onto it, and I saw other people that were having success in the same way. And we've really taken that over the last 6, 7, 8 years and completely redesigned the way we live, completely redesigned the way that we work. And,
because if you don't do it, the world's going to do it for you.
That's right.
They're gonna control what you do. And hey, let me give you a little bit of inspiration here. Okay, you ready? You ready?
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yep.
That's super cool.
Yep. I'm a pilot. And that's my jam. And I tell you, the worst thing about New England is the weather changes all the time. So I'm going for my instrument rating, but Fridays I want to just jump in the plane and take off and go wherever I want. So, and that's how, and I'll tell you, I bet you're going to agree with me that going through that crap 7, 10 years ago made me think, just like you described, where, hey, if I don't do it, I'm going to end up an old man with regrets, looking back on what I should have done. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy.
I think we subscribe to the, work really hard right now and someday I can have the life that I want. And let's figure out a way to live it right now. I mean,
exactly. My mother, she's, all I want to do is retire and sit under a tree with your father. Okay. She was from Dorchester. Yeah. So, but she died at 56.
Yeah.
My dad died at 82.
Yeah.
And she just was like, oh, I'm just going to get the paycheck and then I'll retire. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
This is your chance. This is your one chance to get this right. So, yeah, that is so cool. So now, but how bad was the transition? For instance, I'm having trouble, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. My Fridays are going to be shut down. Deb's going to know she can't talk to me on Fridays. But I'm transitioning. It's not something you can just do. Hey, I got my tags from my motorcycle and I'm going out and riding. And so, so what? Oh, finally, these people calling me. I've had 2 accidents in my car in the last week. 2 crazy drivers hit me. Yeah. And now, I don't have one of those Geico type of policies, but I can't find my claims agent at all. So, oh my gosh. So how did you, how'd you make the switch, and how, you must feel the creep now, where if you don't put up the boundaries and put up the various, you can fall right back into the old rhythm of just living that life you've lived for the last 20, 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. I really struggled with this in the beginning. I think you did it better than I did it.
You seem like the harder worker of the twosome, so I can understand why you had trouble with this.
I'm kidding. But it was hard for me to, I think in our previous businesses, every time I delegated, it never was right, And so anytime it was like, it's easier for me to just take this on, do it myself. No one's going to do it as good as I'm going to do it. And then they're going to do it right. And then it's just more time. Right. And so I really, really struggled with that. And so I had to start scheduling in like those freedoms and those fun times. And you said, I'm trying to not look at email on Fridays. I just don't do it. I can't, because I'll get sucked right back into it, right? So I just don't do it. My work time is very block scheduled out. I know exactly what I'm doing during those times. And today I block tasks like this, right? If it's not my unique genius, it goes to someone else. Or if it doesn't pay what my dollar per hour is, meaning that it's not the highest income generating task that I could be doing, then someone else on my team or a virtual assistant, someone else takes that on and takes care of it.
Okay. I just picked up on something you just said. If it doesn't need genius, is that what you just said?
My unique genius, I said. Yeah. So if it is not one of my absolute.
What yours? Yeah. What you have to be there for. I have to be there. The transactional law aspect of multifamily, that's what I do. And if it's not that, that's not my genius. That's not somebody else should say, oh, that's clever. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, the other thing is delegation. Because I grew up with a father who was 57 years an insurance agent, and he never had a secretary. He said, Dad, why don't you get a secretary? One woman in my life is enough. It was always his answer, okay? And so he didn't delegate anything. So I see myself doing the same thing. And I've learned that I got to just, Deb is my right hand man. She handles everything. And I've had to learn to give her stuff.
Yeah.
And that was tough.
Super
That
tough.
was tough. Today I can tell you I'm still not entirely good at it. I'm really good at it in January when I'm doing my goal planning and like, yeah, I'm going to do this and but then it starts to creep back in on me, and I've got to learn how to control that delegation. Otherwise, I'm going to look like my father.
Yeah.
Gosh. So that's so cool. That's so cool. So what are you guys doing now? You got, you morphed into hard money lenders, and now you also have a coaching program. But one of the things that I noticed was 111 flips in the first year or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you, I'm not in that world. You guys are in the single family fix and flip worlds. That's not what I do. That business scares me. So how do you do 111 in a year? I mean, we're doing them around the St. Louis area.
Yep.
Okay. So, just let's do a little reality slap here. What is an house cost, an average house cost that you guys are dealing with?
I would say now probably in the 175 range.
Oh, okay.
Then
All
probably
right.
more 150.
All right. I'm picturing the $40,000 homes. You can put it on your credit card type of things.
We didn't do a lot of those. And there are those markets and pockets in St. Louis. That's not where we really hung out, but I mean, we do have that here, but I would say our average transaction size was probably 140, 150 the year that we did that many.
Okay, so talk to me about your marketing systems, like how you have those set up and how you delegate them and how you use VAs, which is something that I tell you, it's first off, I think I'm so glad that this country invented China so that we could have Walmarts where we could buy flat screen TVs for $75 or something. I mean, if we wouldn't be able to do that without China. And now, like my VA is in the Philippines, and I think I pay her like $6 an hour, and she's the richest woman on her street. Yep. So and she is phenomenal. Yes. Anything I give her just comes back better than I would have wanted it in the first place. Absolutely. So how do you guys do it?
I guess, one of the biggest things, like Rachel said, is really trying to keep our time where we excel and making sure that we're not spending time in places that we don't, because I will take 10 times the amount of time to do something that she's great at. And I mean, we have some complementary skills too, right. but keeping our team doing what they're really, really good at doing. So, on the marketing side, I'm a big fan, whether the people listening are doing multifamily or single family or whatever they're doing real estate wise. If you want to really be successful at it, you got to be able to make the phone ring. You've got to be able to talk to a motivated seller, whether they're selling an apartment building or selling a single family home.
Hold on, let me just speak to my listeners here a minute, guys. Listen to what Jason's about to share with you, because it doesn't matter. It's all about sales and marketing. It's all about getting your phone to ring and getting that motivated seller to find out how motivated he really is. So Keep going, Jason. This is good.
So from the mortgage business, it was a much more competitive space than the real estate investing space at the time. So, I mean, the real estate agent business and the loan officer business, it's been around not that real estate investing hasn't been around forever, but really like the popularity of real estate investing has been the last 10, 15 years mainstream. The big box companies, the Flip This House TV shows, they've brought a lot of people to this that probably weren't here before. So I think when we really started looking at being a real estate investor, the very first thing that we thought was the direct mail response rate, no matter what you're doing, is 1% to 2%. It's not great. You can run a business off of it, and a lot of educators teach it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. What we thought is we've got to think of something that works better. Everyone's already doing that.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold it. Let me just speak to the people out there. Okay, remember everything I taught you about direct mail? Like everything I said about direct mail is still true, but we'll still listen to Jason here, because I always say, listen, direct mail works every time it's been tried.
It does.
I mean, every industry, you're always going to get responses from it. If you're getting nothing, your phone's not ringing, you got to go to direct mail. You got to do something. And it's the easiest way to outsource.
I'm absolutely not discounting that. Direct mail is still very much a piece of our business. But at the end of the day, it's now you can come up with some cool pieces and you can do some things a little bit differently to push that response rate. I mean, I coach a guy that does 30 grand a month in direct mail spend in Texas. He does about $250,000 a month worth of revenue. So it makes sense.
Yeah. It's all relative. But even still, 30 grand's a lot of money for direct mail.
Makes me nervous too, but it works. Point is, it works. It drives his whole entire business. So absolutely to your point, not discounting it, but let me kind of rephrase why I said that. The guy that taught us how to do pre-foreclosure short sale, which is where we started, he is a St. Louis guy, and he has taught this event in St. Louis probably 50 times. So you go to a real estate investor club in New Hampshire, and I say, how many of you guys in here are doing short sales? And 1 or 2 people raise their hand. And you ask it at this club in St. Louis, and 80% of the room raises their hand because this guy's taught everybody how to do it.
Yeah.
So our thought was, everyone is doing pre-foreclosure direct mail here in this market. How do we differentiate ourselves?
How do we separate
ourselves? How do we increase that response rate and separate ourselves? And so we really started looking into reaching people in a different way. I've always been a big fan of, kind of like guerrilla marketing, meaning that 80% of sales happen after the 5th contact. So how can we get to 5 the fastest? What if we use skip tracing and we found their cell phone number and we could text them? What if we sent out a fly broadcast, like a ringless voicemail, and left them a voicemail? They thought we personally left them that voicemail. Really, we left 500 voicemails in the matter of 30 seconds. Right. What if we could find their social media profile and find them on Facebook or something and send them an inbox message? What if we could skip trace and find their email address and send them an email? And then what if we could do all of those things and automate them to where we weren't really having to do any of that, but they were getting an email, a voicemail, a text message, a Facebook message, a LinkedIn message, a letter. Right. And we took, what was a 1 or 2% response rate and pushed it into the 10 and 20%. By adding some of those things and really basically, turning it into a campaign. And that's something that works universally, whether you're trying to buy apartment buildings, single families, whatever.
It's preferred method of communication, I think.
Absolutely.
And you can never predict what someone's preferred way is to be communicated with. And so let's try them all. One of them is going to get us a response, and that's all we're looking for is that one response. So let's try every way possible, and then we can create that opportunity to actually talk to them immediately.
Let me tell you, this is so cool because I own a property. Actually, I don't own any property. And so nothing is in my name. And I got a text message. And then my daughter got the same text message. And it said, I'm calling you about your property at such and such address. Would you be willing to sell? Now, first off, nobody knows I own that property. And then how does my daughter in New York City get the exact same text message? How did these people find me? Do you know what I did? I called them.
Yeah.
I called them. And she never called me back, which is kind of weird, but I called the woman. I said, hey, what gives? Like, how'd you find me? How do you associate me with that property? Now, congratulations, you were right, but
yeah,
the world's not supposed to know that information.
That's right.
Nobody's supposed to know that. So that was so listening to this. Okay, you guys have a coaching program. You coach people. I mean, kind of the same thing that I do. Great business, isn't it? I love it. It's so much fun. It gets me out of bed with a start every morning. I just love to get up and help it. And it goes back to when I got out of college, I went to work for New York Life like my dad. And my manager, older guy, very successful agent, now left the field and came back into management. And I said to him, and I was a stupid 22-year-old kid, I said to him, why would you leave the field? Why would you want to come in here and deal with all this, corporate stuff? And he goes, Charlie, because I really enjoy seeing you succeed. And I thought, that's the biggest bullshit answer I've ever heard in my life. Like, that's so not true. And now, fast forward 30 years, no, I know exactly what he's talking about. I love seeing my students succeed. I love getting them over the hump. I love them achieving it. So this is a phenomenal business to be in. Now, is your focus on doing fix and flips, or is it on the marketing aspect? I mean, or do you, when somebody comes into your coaching program, I mean, is there any one particular focus that you do more than another in this business. I'm only multifamily, but what you just talked about from a marketing standpoint, I'm like, hey, how can I teach that to my students? Like, how do I get someone like you to teach that to my students? Because they really need it. I totally agree with what you're saying. If you can accelerate those 5 touches before anybody else.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Most people are like, okay, we're going to send out another direct mail piece this month. And we're going to do it again next month. And 5 months later, you're still, and you guys have already flipped that house,
Yeah.
So talk to me about what you teach as far as the marketing goes.
Yeah. As far as what we teach, we really start at like, where are you at? And for most people, the marketing is the piece that they completely leave out, or they just go one-dimensional with their marketing.
Exactly.
Like, if you want to receive these types of results, and I don't care if you want to flip 1 house a year, if you want to buy
Listen up, everybody.
2 doors a year, it doesn't matter if it's multi or if it's single family, you have got to become a real estate marketer.
Yeah.
Period, right? And you have to really master that.
The first thing I say is, I'm sorry to explain this to you people, but if you expected anything differently, you came to the wrong place. This is a sales and marketing business.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yep.
They all think, I'm going to be this great big, owner of 1,000 units and everything's great. You got to sell your offer every time it goes out the door.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. And so it all starts with that marketing. Like, you can't build a business relying on someone else that is going to bring you your deals. That's not a business, right?
I'm hitting the autopilot button right now. I don't need to speak anymore. Go ahead, Rachel. Keep talking. This is what I teach.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for us, it's wherever you're at is where we're going to take you. But we can get with the most seasoned investors, and they still have a lot of holes in their marketing, a lot of holes in it. And so we look at it all as a process and a system. One, how can we build it where you can be out of it as much as possible, so that responsibility isn't on you? And you'd be amazed at the just systems that will automate. And then you bring in a virtual assistant. You don't have to do anything but make outbound phone calls, right, at that point. And I think we also, from the sales side, you're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, that is our biggest, like, you're just going to, there's no growth in your comfort zone, right? And we're going to push you to that point. Your highest return on investment as far as that marketing and sales side is you being on the phone talking to someone, not hiring an outbound caller to do that for you until you've gotten to that point and you've trained them. But you've got to step into that area. You have got to get on that phone. You have to be talking to people.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my students started with me with 0 units. He has over 6,000 units now. Wow. And when he first started, on the first phone call, I knew this guy was going to be a success because for the previous 35 years, he was a manufacturer's rep for Columbia Sporting Goods. And he got his doors slammed in his face every single day. And he just went up and found another sale. And that's how you have to be in this business. You just do. But it's amazing. And these people that like, well, I'm not a salesman, I don't really want to do this. Like, you know what? Suck it up, because you know what type of lifestyle you eventually want. You don't want to be that guy sitting, in your little chaise lounge on your driveway, watching the cars go by at age 65, waiting for the mailman to show up with the Social Security check and telling the person, well, I could have been a success if I just, marketed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Write that one down. Right. That's a keeper. I could have been a success if I had just marketed a little bit more.
Yeah. Right.
That's okay. You guys can use that one in your
Thanks, man.
TM. So yes. Wow. Oh, so you guys sound like you've set up systems, and is it plug and play with you guys? Is it, do this. Here's your top 5 things you need to do. Call this company, set up this program, do this. Is it that simple? I mean, have you got it down to that much of a science?
So I think at its core, it is that simple. I also don't want to paint the picture that it falls from the sky, because I think that so many people underestimate the amount of work that has to be done to make a business successful. At the same time, nobody said that you had to be the one to do it. And I think that's the biggest part of what we've learned is, okay, here's the 7 things that need to be done. Which part of them are the parts that I have to do? And then which are the parts that someone else can do? Because out of all of that, the only thing that really pays me my dollar per hour, and the only thing that's really in my, genius zone of all that is probably talking with the homeowner or meeting with the homeowner. I don't have to set up the email campaign, nor should I, man. I don't know anything about that. I don't, I mean, I am not the technical person. I don't need to set up
because Rachel's only with you because you're good looks, Jason. That's it. That's all you bring to the table.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at Rachel. She's in the look she just gave me. Wait until you watch this podcast again, Jason.
Yeah.
Wait until you see the look she just gave me.
This has
Classic.
been 19 years, man. I'm used to it.
Do your parents know?
What?
Okay, just checking. So, oh yeah. So REI blueprint. That's what we're talking, because it really is. It sounds like you guys got it down to like a blueprint of exactly what you need to do to make things work. So it's reiblueprint.com is how people can track you down. You guys are out in the St. Louis area, very nice people out in that neck of the woods, or so I heard.
But we're trying.
Yeah. Are you guys originally from there?
Yeah, born and raised.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I just picked up some new clients from St. Louis.
Really?
Oh, they are running me ragged. And the thing is, they're going to listen to this podcast and they're going to like, hey, he's talking about us. He's talking about, oh, but wait a minute. I just remembered. I got to give a shout out to an old friend of mine, Jeff Poindexter. Okay. This guy, Poindexter. He grew up next door to me in Nashua, New Hampshire, moved out when he was like in 3rd grade. And all of a sudden I get an email, a LinkedIn message from Jeff Poindexter. Like, holy cow, what's Jeff Poindexter doing? And he said, Charlie, I love your podcast. It's great. I listen to it all the time. I want to get into multifamily investing. So so shout out, say hi to Jeff Poindexter for me, guys.
We'll look him up.
All right, you let him know. So, all right, so you guys have a product, you guys have a program, you have a coaching product. I love your marketing thing. And folks, it's all about the marketing. Absolutely. So I want you to hit up Jason and Rachel, and I want you to talk to them and see, if anything, the things that Rachel talked about with the delegation, with the systems, and designing your life. That's what it's all about. And that's the beauty of this business. Guys, I've had a blast talking with you.
Absolutely, man. Same here.
It was so much fun. You know why? Because you've been through the ringer like I have. And we came out better for it. And now we're helping people. That is so cool.
Well,
so
I can tell you've got a big heart for helping people and just, creating positive change. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
You're right. It can feel gimmicky to hear, but when your heart is real, you know what I mean? Like I don't get fulfillment, and I can tell you don't either from, it's fun to do another deal, but being able to create some sort of positive change in someone else's life, it's the coolest thing in the world.
Exactly. So amen, brother. It's so cool. All right, guys, great to have you. Okay, I'm done my coffee. I got to go get another cup of coffee. Thank you for making it through my first cup of coffee. What a great way to start my day. All right, guys, I'll talk to you all soon. And let's catch up when I'm out in Missouri again.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.